sometimes I question myself, like, what the fuck are you actually like looking for? Because sometimes you'll think you want something, and then you'll meet a girl who sort of fits what you've kind of been saying you want, and then
you've not even had sushi yet.
But
do you know what I mean?
No, do you know what I mean? But do you think that there's have you built up someone in your head where you've got like an idea of what you want, or a rough formula?
I mean, obviously, like everybody. What was it?
Just what?
If you meet a girl, are you looking for like her to come out with certain things?
Yeah, definitely. Like to be honest, like more stop interrupting me, Lord.
Sorry.
No, more so than at any other point for me. Like, I think like if I was gonna be with anybody for any length of time, like I would need to have a lot in common with them. Because you know, at other points I've had, you know, when I was younger, I had, you know, girlfriends here and girlfriends there that was just like, you're really hot. I think you're really hot, like, and you obviously think the same about me. We have nothing in common. We don't really chat that much, but we have a great time together. Fun, you know. It's not really going anywhere. But for me now, I'm like, if I'm gonna make that commitment, I'm gonna need to know that, you know, I can be myself. Entirely myself, you know, somebody where I don't need to pretend to be anything. You know, if I'm going to be a fucking slob one day, I want to be able to be the slob that I want to be. You know, I don't want to be fucking airs and graces and, you know, trying to impress somebody at all times. It needs to be somebody who's down to earth, somebody who has got good morals. You know, as you were talking about earlier on, you know, the working class thing isn't essential, but
at least to have the same respect that you have for everyone. Yeah, because you respect everyone until there's a reason not to respect them. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, to be honest, that's important. And if, you know, if they like the, you know, the fighting, and they like the sports, and they like the same kind of movies that I like, and they're passionate about, you know, or passion, you know, passion and drive and ambition.
And what she's doing.
Fucking hell, yeah. There's nothing more attractive.
I must admit, I love a woman who's like got a bit of fire about her, and like, I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna take it.
As a man, when you see a bit of testosterone about a woman or something, where you're like, oh, you've got a bit of fire in your belly. Testosterone. No, but I'm just using the word. Do you know what I mean, though?
No,
a woman who's a bit fucking driven and wants more from life than just the regular. I do appreciate that.
It's sexy, man. It's sexy to see, and you know, it's the flip side of what a lot of women find sexy in men, or what men find sexy in men, or women in women, or whatever you're into. But like, it's ambition, it's drive, it's going, I want to do something and I'm going to make it happen.
Like, for me personally, it doesn't have to be that she wants to be something massive, like an actor or a musician.
No,
even if she, like, let's say she's a nurse, and I know that's a stereotypical woman job, but I'm just saying, but if she says to me, I really helped someone today and I really love what I did, and I'm like, yeah, fucking good on you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like that sort of thing.
100%. No, I think caring about, you know, somebody who loves what they do.
Yeah, they're usually going to be quite happy, which means less earache for me, for a start.
But, you know, but also it means you've got the chance to actually talk about actual stuff, not fucking like work with shite.
Small talk can only get you so far in life.
Fuck me, man.
You know
like,
what I mean?
You think, you know, sometimes I go on dates with girls and I'm just like,
I've clocked you within one day.
Seconds.
I know everything about you almost straight away.
Not that, but I'm just like, I'm out, man. Yeah. I'm out. You've been speaking to me for 10 minutes about this and that, and I don't care about
ex-boyfriends and bullshit like that.
It will, like, material possessions.
Don't do that.
Don't go down the ex route.
Ex-boyfriends, or like, I mean, it's just like somebody that is just kind of there, open, comfortable. Somebody that you can just have a laugh with, you know, like somebody where it's easy, no stress. As soon as stress gets involved, I'm out, man. I don't deal well with the stress. I don't like stress. And if you know, I know mates, boys, who are in relationships that are maybe kind of unhealthy at the minute, and boys, and
what do you mean by unhealthy?
Well, you know, I know a couple of boys that are in, very good mates of mine, who are in relationships because they are scared of not being in relationships because they've been in them for that long, but they're actually being poisoned by the women that they're with. And I've no women who are in the same position. They're being poisoned by
poisoned though? Like,
well, they're not being given the chance to do the things that they want to do and be what they want to be,
or
because
they're
so committed to helping the other person out. And it's the same with a lot of my female friends. A few of my female friends are
so
in
what you're saying
with guys as well. I'm just giving the camera a wee stink eye.
What you're saying is though, like, when you say you want to be yourself, and also for your friends, you want them to be with people that they can be comfortable with, and who are comfortable with them. I think once you start changing who you are in a relationship, everyone changes a little bit. We're all sort of molded into what,
it's a bit
if she's into something, you'll go along with that music or whatever. But when you start literally becoming a different person, that's when you have to question, like,
you can't do it because as we discussed earlier on, the relationship isn't going to last forever if it's like that, and if it does, you're gonna live an unhappy life. You know, you're stuck with you. You've got to be happy with you, and if you have ambitions and you want to be doing certain things, you can't give them up for somebody else because to let them do their thing. You know, I don't believe in that.
One thing I learned about like a career is sort of reverse engineering it and thinking of what am I good at, and therefore what can I do. And for me, it's a little bit like that with relationships. It's who am I and who would I work with? Because unfortunately as men, we'll look at a lass and think, she's fucking hot, I wouldn't mind shagging that for a good few years. And generally, you sort of think, I don't really care about the personality, I will do anything to stick with you. And I've felt like that before, but it's the wrong attitude. The right attitude is, am I actually fucking compatible with this lass? It doesn't matter how she looks. If I'm not compatible, this is going to last, I'm going to waste time.
How many times have you convinced yourself?
Oh, mate.
This is what happens.
A lot.
But you know, and that's when you start thinking about things like, it's not always about, you know, it's the trigger point certainly, but you got to start looking at, you know, why am I willing to do this for someone else? Obviously I'm not fucking, you know, there are other things going on that you need to deal with, and you can only really deal with them. People get in relationships all the time to cover up their own problems, you know, because somebody else makes them happy, but you got to be the person that makes you happy. You can't rely on somebody else.
Oh
to
mate,
do
you've
that,
just
man.
hit the fucking nail on the head there.
Simple
do you know how many lasses I've met and I've thought to myself, you literally have come into this relationship with me as a way of covering up your own fucking issues.
100%.
Like, you literally need to work on you before you even get into a fucking relationship.
That's what often happens with people is, you know, you meet somebody, there's a spark, you have a great time, you've not been having a great time.
And
a
you
lot of
think it's all
relationships,
about that.
yeah, a lot of relationships happen because one person is lonely, another person is lonely. You're looking for something, and you find it. Like, and that's, to be honest, that's why none of my relationships have ever lasted, because like it's come from a point of going, you know, I think I'm ready for a relationship, and then boom, it fucking happens.
The next girl who comes along,
Exactly.
like a taxi, put your thumb out, right, I'm ready, and then here she comes.
It's one of those things. It's
Rather than waiting.
timing, rather than going, you know, I'm not expecting anything. I've got no expectations. I've got no, you know, anything like that. And then you meet somebody and you go, you know, I think we can all fucking, you know, we can all agree. You're in a relationship, right? You know,
you can all relate to that.
There is nothing better, and we can fucking, you know, we can. This is again what we were talking about, you know, as men, and you know, the butch thing. There's nothing better than being in love. The fucking feeling of being in love with somebody and spending time with the person that you love more than anything. And like, if you are both killing it at what you do, you're like a fucking power couple. It's cool as fuck. When you walk out together and you go out and go to dinner and you go and do stuff together, you feel fucking amazing. You're proud of one another. You're proud of yourself.
And you're interested in her.
You're
as well.
interested. You keep each other interested. You challenge each other. You know, you keep each other on your toes. It's fucking great. Is it something that you can find by looking for? Nah, I don't think so. I don't think it's something you can find by, like, you know, I'll find the love of my life on Tinder.
It's luck, isn't it? I feel like a bit of that's luck, though.
I don't think you
I
will.
think it's more just like timing, sort of like.
You may find it on Tinder though. You just don't know.
You might do, but like, you know, you see on these
might
dating
go more
apps
than
and things like that.
apps.
But yeah.
Do you know what it is? I genuinely,
codes.
I really identify with what you're saying though when you talk about relationship, because like, there's been a lot of times where you spend time with the wrong girl and you're literally just like, wait until my balls fill up again because I'm bored fucking shitless here. Like, and it literally, but when you're with a girl and you're on a night out and you're having a good time and you're genuinely like, you're hanging on every word she says and you're really interested in her, you're compatible, everything's clicking, it's a fucking good feeling.
Do you know, one of the things for me that I would say one of my big problems throughout the years with women has been the fact that if I like a girl, I will do anything anything to make sure that she rates me higher than anybody she's been with. And then when that happens, I lose interest.
Right.
So once you feel like you've won,
It's fucking ridiculous, man, and it's something that I've only really realised over the last couple of years.
that's
But
quite.
you
That's
just
mad.
so
That.
the chase of going top of the list, you know, got to fucking smoke these cunts, get them out the fucking water, like just fuck these guys. You will not. You will have been eating my
So when
dust.
so
Quite an
realistically-
ego-driven sort of...
It's so
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Oh, it's
ego-driven.
completely ego.
pathetic, man, to go like, rather than concentrating on the actual person, I'm concentrating on the fact that I'm gonna challenge.
But then, how do you ever know the truth? How do you ever know? Because
That's why none of them have worked, man.
but
You know, it's why none of them
like,
have worked.
even if she says you're the best everything ever,
Everyone
you'll
says
never
that.
truly fucking know.
But everyone says that anyway.
Exactly. You know, and exactly.
Because that person's
I-
also going to convince
but also,
themselves back.
At that time,
Yeah,
you're
you are the best
Well,
at that
you
time.
are, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, why else would I be with you? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not with him because he's, you know, I'm not with him because of this. I'm with you. So, like, yeah, there's a reason. Like, had we, you know, met 5 years ago, would we still be together?
That is part of the problem with sort of like the concept of monogamy in the first place, though, is that actually like people, they then
Bullshit,
get...
innit?
But it's whether I mean, you can subscribe to it if you... I mean, some people subscribe to it.
Some people are very happy
And
to
some
settle
people-
and do that thing, absolutely.
Yeah, but also some people then realize maybe some of the flaws in the monogamy idea is that everyone then sets up this perfect person, or they want to be at the very top of that list. And actually, I think what a lot of people end up doing is settling for what they consider to be number 2 or number 3 in their list,
Safe.
rather than
Somebody who's
sort
not
of be
going to run
mm,
away from me, somebody who's not
it's-
going to go and find
It's a little
somebody.
bit like rolling dice. And also some people, you know, they're in their mid-30s or whatever, and they don't feel they can move on from that.
That's a concept of settling as well is an interesting one, because I know a lad who he had a girl who was perfect for him, like perfect in every way for him, but because he'd won, like you've just described, he knew she idolized him. He felt like that would work for her, and he went and got with the girl who was better looking than her, but a fucking nightmare, completely wrong for him. She kind of boil water, and literally. And I'm like, what have you done that for? And it's all about because he needed a challenge. His ego needed that risk and that one.
But surely then, I think that's maybe where you realise you're old enough for a relationship, is you shift your challenge from being to attain the girl to then the challenge of the relationship, but not like, let's make this crazy
I'm not
person
ready,
happy.
Lawrence.
Exactly. You don't want to shift your challenge yet. You're still trying
no,
to...
I have. My challenges are shifted, but I generally now I find that I'm having a much better time when I go in, you know, like I'll maybe date a girl for a month, a year, and it's all very casual, and there's no commitment to anything. It's just really nice, you know. And
I call them mini relationships. But if you want a name for them,
it is like
They're
a mini.
like magnums.
I mean, I don't know how you thought of that name. It's
mini.
just like
I've had them for a lot of years.
it's great. Like
Mini relationships.
You do your thing, and like I think it kind of works. The thing
They're
for
like
me is
chicken
that
nuggets, but occasionally
Magnum
you want
minis.
But you want a chicken burger at the
It's-
end of that. You
it's
know what I mean?
nice.
You want a
Nuggets
Magnum.
are lovely. I love a nugget. I'll chomp nuggets all day. Do you know what I
But
mean?
But a roast
I get
chicken.
I get the analogy. No, I get the analogy, right? I get it, because if you have a connection with somebody and you have fun together, why does it need to be anything more than it is? And I think at all times, you know, there's always a pressure on this thing where you go, well, we get on, we should give
Let's
it a go.
get married.
You go, well, fucking why should we?
Uh-huh.
Like, why shouldn't we? But equally, why the fuck should we? I don't want that. Like, you're cool, but like, if it's going to disrupt how I want to live my life at the minute, then it's not happening.
And another thing is, for me personally, and I know not everyone has this opinion, but when I look back on my life, I want to fucking look back and say I had a lot of fun. Me, like I went with a lot of women.
What memories, not regrets,
Fucking,
right?
I shagged this one, that one. I had a great fucking time. It was bloody great. I fucked a lot of women, and I had a good laugh. Do you know what I mean? And then eventually,
Your words, not mine.
and then I'm just saying, I really believe. I'm being honest.
That's what you want.
And this is my genuine belief. Is like, and it's not an ego thing. I just think that there's an
Keep telling
enjoyment
yourself
of experiencing different women.
8 billion people on this planet.
Yeah, but 4 billion of them.
Variety is truly the
4
spice of life,
billion.
and it really is.
No, but like also,
I'm
What
not
if you
just
can
joking,
find
like,
someone
I
with
fucking mean
multiple
that.
personalities?
I think it's really important, man. I think I totally agree with you, and I think, you know, like, fuck it, like, no, it's something that men don't get the credit for talking about often enough, is how healthy an active sex life can be in the long run.
Sure.
You know, obviously some people, you know, you find somebody that works and that's great, but like if you don't, what is wrong with finding a whole host of different girls who all want the same thing as you and who are going and doing the same thing as you? You are not anything special to them, just like they are not anything special to you. You are exactly no, but like, you know what I mean? It's, you know, obviously you have better experiences here than you do there, but like, it's all fucking expendable.
We were talking about this off camera though.
No, we weren't.
Oh right, no, we were talking about this off camera, and I was saying, I think having spoken to a lot of guys and girls down the years, some people don't realise they're having a terrible sex life until they meet someone who they have good sex with.
And sometimes all it takes...
He's genuinely like, I know, I've met many of them.
Well, all it takes...
No, that's true though, isn't it?
All it takes is being in a relationship with somebody for a long time, for instance, that you're maybe not comfortable with, and who's not comfortable with you. You know, you're not entirely. It's what we were talking about earlier.
Some people get lazy.
You've got the airs and graces. You're still pretending to be somebody else to please the person you're with. Therefore, you can't open yourself up properly. Therefore, your sex isn't going to be as good as it can be.
Yeah.
Whereas if you meet somebody on a date, you have a couple of drinks, and you go.
When I was younger, I was really guilty of being so consumed with what I want when we get in the bedroom, and only when I hit like 20, 23, 24, I was like, all right, actually
29.
I'm being serious.
Right.
I became more interested in like, oh, actually, I really like pleasing a woman, and I'm actually more into that. Like
that's always been my game, man.
But
so what did you do?
When I was 16,
what did you do then?
When I was 16 to 20, I'm like, I just want to nut and fucking run me. Like
And was that your goal, to do that as fast as possible?
Not as fast as possible, and
clock never lies.
That's never been an issue of mine actually. But no, just
circumcised.
Like maybe when I was in a relationship, I used to kind of like, but I was never driven by what makes a woman get off. Whereas as I got a bit older, I was like, yeah, I learned that I was more into that than what I was then.
Interesting. When I was younger, you sort of grow up in like in schools and people talk about things. That was the thing that drove me, was the fact that I wanted girls to go and tell their friends.
Right.
But what I mean is, the thing is, ego is a fucking motherfucker, like, innit? Because you're definitely in the past been driven by ego, but I didn't even care about that. Like, I know for a fact this girl's telling me he was fucking shit. Like, I know for a fact that would have happened because I didn't care. I'm like, do you really think I care about whether you're happy or whether your friends think I'm good? I got what I wanted, and that was all I cared about at the time.
I've never had that.
But now, you see, his logic was, if her friends think you're good, he
they'll
can plow his way through them as well.
Yeah, he was ahead of the game. Yeah,
he was playing top trumps with everyone else in high school as to whether he was rated above them.
But what I'm saying is, now I don't want to please a woman because I want to tell her friends or anything like that.
You don't want to please them at all.
It's just the expression on her face at the time. That's all. That's all I'm into. Do you know what I mean?
What would that look like?
What it is for
mouth wide open.
What it is for me
sometimes,
is
I guess.
now. I mean, it's just about everybody having fun. You know?
you're having orgies.
You know what I mean, though. But like, you just laugh all you want. It's a serious point. I mean, everybody who's involved.
You are one fucking mad cunt.
It is.
I love you, you mad.
It's just
look, at the end of the day, that's all I've.
No, but like genuinely, if you're gonna, it's a very vulnerable. You become, you know, it's a very. You're opening yourself up to somebody, aren't you? At the end of the day, like
it's a very intimate experience.
I think I've got a much more mature attitude towards sex than what I had when I was 16. I was so.
But to be fair, you started in a very low place.
For me, I was self-absorbed as well, in a way that was like, I'm looking at this like a fucking
competition,
scientific fucking like art.
Right.
You push the right buttons, you get the result, and then. You know, you get the reviews.
Did you read like the GQ Men online things?
Of course I did. Of course I did.
The best sex for me is when you are like in each other's eyes, feeling it. You're both feeling it. And
that's what I mean.
You're not thinking it's happening. And the more you think, the
sexual chemistry,
the
man.
shitter the sex is.
Sexual
the
chemistry.
less you're thinking, and the more you're feeling, the better the sex is.
I mean, this is sexual chemistry. Like you know, that's also something that you just have to accept. Not everybody has it with each other, you know. Like, and also some people are more comfortable.
Do you know what's annoying?
What's annoying?
What?
When you get a lass who you have the best sex with and you fucking get annoyed by her, like personality, you can't have a night out and click, but in the sack you click brilliantly, because you kind of start thinking, am I going to be able to move on and get and then chances are I'm not going to get a shag like this for a long time. But then you think to yourself, but she's a fucking arsehole. Like that is, and I know women have the same thing, because there's girls who can't stand a bloke, but because he's got a fucking he's got a decent dick game, they're sticking around.
Well, I mean, like, we're all after the same thing at the end of the day, innit?
Everything
And
we can't have that. And the sooner you accept that,
you
the better.
smashed that there. That's exactly what we're after.
The sooner you
after
accept
everything.
the better. You're never going to get someone who is mentally stimulating, gives you the cuddle and all that shit that you want, and everything you want, the great sex, cooks, cleans, and does You're not going to get everything. You need to like accept that who you're into is who you're into, and hopefully they've got as much of that as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a nightmare, lads, isn't it?
It's not.
It's great.
It's not.
It is, no, but when you want everything, you have to lower that expectations. And I think for me personally,
You like chicken
I
nuggets?
had a lot of good I had a lot of good girlfriends when I was like 19, 20, 21, 22, and who generally would have made really good long-term girlfriends.
They probably have to other people.
But I'm trying to tell the
It's
lads,
true, though.
listening a lesson
Yeah.
of like, there was some girls who were really good looking, genuine, lovely girls, interesting, had passion for what they were doing, good in bed, had everything. But because there was one little thing missing, I was like, I can do better, I can do better, I can do better.
Wow.
And that was a bad attitude to have, to be honest.
It is a bad attitude to have, I think, because like, that's it. It's going better. It's thinking about it as better rather
Bit like
than
what you said,
rather than thinking
different.
about it with different.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it just doesn't work out between people, and that is something that I don't think is given anywhere enough airtime.
I can also say
There's
that
always a reason
There was
for a
one
break.
girl
think
who
there's
never
also-
spoke to us again.
there's real issues, I think, in relationships.
Do you want to hear about that?
Yeah.